Hello everyone, this is Denise at All My Dolls, and I'm going to try to do the What My Dolls Are Wearing video as concisely as possible. There was already like a 10-minute preview video about Kaya and Felicity and Elizabeth, so I'm not going to go really deep into those three. Kaya is conspicuously missing because I'm teaching a unit on the Native Americans. And that's where she's at. Felicity is wearing a variation of her Christmas dress, and unfortunately, that was one of the videos that was deleted. And basically, what I did was take the front of that particular bodice and extend it and overlap it so it looks more like an adult version of what would be worn in the 1770s, more like a round gown. And I did change the sleeves, made a whole different ruffle on that sleeve. And then you know what? It's got its own name and it's escaping me. Now, Elizabeth is wearing Felicity's school dress and skirt from the Pleasant Company patterns. I'm only going to pull out Josefina because both her and Caroline are essentially wearing the same dress, which would be what about accurate? It is a piece of history dress from Thimbles and Acorns. And if you don't have that pattern, it's a really great pattern. It's basically one pattern and it shows you how to make dresses that will fit several eras just by the shaping of the dress. It's pretty basic. The only difference between Caroline and Josefina is that Caroline has a green satin ribbon around the high waist. Kirsten is wearing my version of her St. Lucia dress, which was made from the Pleasant Company school dress. I mean, it's a pretty basic white. And from a collector's standpoint, at some point I probably should get her dress and the wreath that goes with it. From a seamstress standpoint, it's a basic white dress, so I just don't really feel any need to purchase it. I would like the headpiece though. I think last year I had a headpiece that kind of mimicked it, and somewhere I packed it away. I haven't really found it. When I find it, I'll put it on her. But this works for now. For the foreseeable future, she's going to be like Kaya, dressed differently than everybody else. We'll see how that goes. So here's Cecile, or Cecile if you like to call her that. You know what? For the foreseeable future, I'm going to be referencing videos that you can no longer watch because I deleted them. And so I'm going to try to explain them. Oh, for the life of me, I wish that I had saved a copy of Cecile's video. I do have pictures of what she looked like when I got her. She was a matted mess. Even this one's a little, let's pull that out. And she looks really good now. And also, I had explained some of the modifications that had been done to patterns because my whole point of the patterns is to learn how to modify and draft historical patterns. So at any rate, for life of me, I could not remember where this dress had come from. It's been through so many modifications. I'm like, whose dress was it? So now that I'm looking at it, dead on, I can see the bodice formation right here. And I want to say that this is the Civil War era dress by Thimbles and Acorns. For some reason, the collar seems off to me. I did something to it. I modified it somewhere, but I want to say this is the Civil War era dress by Thimbles and Acorns. And so there was very little of the velvet. And I'll show you what I did with the second half of that velvet. So I probably should have mentioned that Cecile is wearing a hoop. She's wearing the hoop from the Victorian Unmentionables. And really, she should not be wearing a hoop for that time period. She should be wearing multi petticoats, except that I only made a few petticoats and I needed them between Addie and Mary Grace and Cecile. So Cecile wound up with the hoop just because her skirt was longer and the pattern from, I think that's Thimbles and Acorns too. That pattern was for an adult version of skirts. So it was a longer petticoat and hoop. Whereas these dresses that Mary Grace and Addie are wearing are the traditional length for young girls at the time. So those hoops and they just don't actually fit. They're too long, is what I'm trying to say. So I need to make a couple different petticoats for these shorter gowns. Okay, so at any rate, there was very little velvet. I happened to find it under the table at Praxis. And so Cecile, according to the story, is supposed to be the more affluent of the two. So I gave Cecile the upper velvet bodice. And then I trimmed Mary Grace in velvet. And I used the other piece to make the Mouse King outfit. And I'm not sure who's wearing that, but it's green. So you'll see it in a little bit. So you see her with her petticoat, and you can see how it just kind of peeks under the edge because it is a bit long, but that is actually fairly historically accurate too. She is wearing the Heritage Doll Fastens Summer. Oh, I forgot what it's called, Summer Promenade. But at any rate, that dress is so gorgeous. It's for the 1850s, and when you see the pattern, it's really pretty summery dress. I figure if I put it in the dark tones and kind of gave it some velvet trim, it would make for a winter season dress. I had a really tough time with that pattern. I don't know where I lost my mind at, but I just could not get the ruffle right. It was too short. It was too long. It didn't gather all the way. I don't know. But I love the look of it. And so at some point, I'll revisit it in a different fabric and I'll probably have an aha moment to see where I went wrong. But it actually looks great. So it is a two-tier dress. I almost want to give it a third tier just because it's really pretty. Addie is actually wearing a slightly modified version of Kirsten's school dress, which is pretty much the norm. The 1850s and the 1860s are not so far different that it wasn't easy for me to modify the dress. So it works out about well. And for the most part, um, that is my kind of go to dress between the 18, well, for kids anyway, I'd say between the 1840s and up to like the 1860s. It just takes a little bit of modification and it's pretty much the same. She also has on one of the hand knit Sontags. I really enjoy making Sontags. I make them for me, I make them for the dolls. They're a lot of fun. She needs a bit of a cleanup. She's been moved around a lot and dressed, but I'm really coming to terms with the wig, the new wig. At first, I was kind of like, it didn't seem as long as the Pleasant Company wig I had, but it's full and It's just a beautiful wig. I love the texture of it. She is wearing her birthday shoes just because I don't actually have her meet shoes to go with her meet dress or any of the other shoes. At some point, I'll get her some shoes. By the way, I made a total of, I think it was 10, somewhere between 8 to 10 corsets. And so everybody who is supposed to be in corsets or a pair of stays all has proper undergarments underneath, with the exception of Caroline, because I don't have any Regency stays. I hadn't made them yet. Josefina would not have been wearing stays. There's no cultural evidence of that. And Kirsten would not have been wearing any stays or corset at that time at her age. So here are the Sams. I still have two Sams. I've always had two Sams. I got a Sam, then I got another Sam, then I sold a Sam, then I got another Sam. And I still have two Sams. And just to be honest, I actually prefer the 90s Sam over the white body Sam. Sorry, it's just true. And so we've got Sam number 3 over there and Nellie, and they're hanging out on Sam's bed. They are both wearing Sam's cranberry dress, which is, I think, is also the birthday dress pattern, Pleasant Company. I'm not sure what happened, but when I was mass making all of these outfits, there should have been a collar on Sam's dress. There's not a collar on Addie's. There's not a collar on this one, but there's a collar on Nellie. So at some point, I got confused and stitched hers up just like I did Addie's and left off the collar. I'm just now noticing. It's like that when you do 50 something doll outfits in one pass. So at any rate, those two are chilling. And the Sam over here, the white body, is pretending to be Grandmary. And she is dressed in, I also want to say that's a thimble and acorns pattern for the bustle dress. It's an absolutely gorgeous pattern. And found this pair of wool pants at Praxis that had kind of been shredded up already. Decided it would make an awesome bustle dress. I haven't put her hair up. Um, that particular wig, or Sam's particular wig, is inaccurate for the time period. And so it just doesn't really go really well with putting it up. And I haven't really messed with the white body, so it's just kind of like that. There was a time when I thought that I might take off some of the dog's wigs and replace them so that the dolls would look more historically accurate. And that time is kind of past. It is what it is. And if you don't know the story behind it, when Pleasant Company had the dolls made by Gertz, I hope I said that right. At any rate, they had only had the wigs with the bangs. And so that's just the way Sam was. By the time she had gotten to Felicity, that had changed. And so Felicity's wig does not have bangs, but Sam, Molly, and Kirsten, of course, do. So, at any rate, here is Rebecca. The thing about Rebecca is, of course, she is a Jewish character, so she doesn't actually celebrate Christmas. And traditionally, and I'm not really sure how far that tradition goes, I'm gonna have to ask someone. Just now thinking about it, the Hanukkah clothing, Hanukkah colors are generally blue. So I thought to myself, I could put her in her blue dress. Well, the dress I made for her, I don't have her Hanukkah outfit or her holiday outfit. Or I can just dress her green. And so I just decided to dress her green, which is totally fine. She is wearing a teens style dress with the side closure, or in this case, a faux side closure, and the off to the side pleats. I did make it a little too long. I don't know what I was thinking, but what I was thinking is that because of the drop waist, I did not modify the length of the skirt. So it probably should be about an inch and a half shorter than it actually is. But it's got the classic Peter Pan collar, the side seam, drop waist, and the side pleats. It looks pretty good, except I need to recurl that one spot that was sticking out during the change. And this particular dress is a modified version of Sam's cranberry dress. And pretty much for the next 4 dresses, these are all modified versions of Sam's cranberry dress. So I took her bodice front and flattened it out in this case because it doesn't have the puckering kind of pigeon breast look. And then I cut into it, and I dropped the waist down and then cut into the sides of it, and then gathered the extra fabric as pleating. So Claudia's dress, once again, it's a modified version of Sam's dress. She has the Peter Pan collar, which actually came from Molly's patterns, puff sleeves, and this one is actually better fitting than Rebecca's dress. I might take Rebecca's dress in just a little bit. Stitched ribbon down, and I like this fabric a lot better than the other one. It's a much crisper fabric, so I need to be careful when I pull off the shelf. I closed it from the top. I'm seeing now that I'm going to need to add another snap down here. Now, I want to say thimbles and acorns because I think it's always thimbles and acorns when it comes to the undergarments. They have a really nice, I want to say it's teens. It might be just 1900s to teens. Edwardian underwear. So I'm probably going to get those and get a pair for Claudie too. That would be nice. Really to give her a little some support underneath her skirts. Kit and Ruthie are going to appear together, and I really have no idea what they're looking at, but at any rate. So this particular dress is the Val Spears 1804, and I'm under the impression 1804 is the number. Has nothing to do with like historical date. And I think I made like 8 of these dresses, and from Kit down, up until maybe Julian Ivy, everybody has a version of this dress. Basically, I did something to modify it, but it's essentially the same dress. Okay, so we've got a high waist, but not like super high, but yeah, kind of reminiscent of the later periods, or maybe we should call them earlier periods. And they've got some really cute ribbon accent, and I tried to differentiate. Oh boy, Ruthie from Kit. Well, it's been 20 minutes. I'm kind of getting tired of talking. They are absolutely adorably cute, as always. I love Kit. I really love this doll. Emily and Molly are wearing another variation of the Val Spears 1804 dress. Sorry about the bright spot in the back, but it's always a balance around here. It's like either have no light or too much light. Need a different setup. So at any rate, actually Emily looks pretty good. Molly is one of those dolls who just always looks like she's looking down on the ground. That's just kind of the way it is. I had intended to buy Molly's Christmas dress off of eBay, and that's where I made my mistake because I never actually bought it. And it just occurred to me that Nanea is without a dress, and that's because that was supposed to be um, her dress right there. So this is what I'm recording now, depending on when I put this out. At some point, Molly's dress might arrive here between now and Christmas, or I'll do something about Nanea between the time that I finish the video. To me, Melody is the most beautiful of the Sonali molds. That's just me personally. I have no idea how old this particular Melody is because I got her secondhand, but she's quite lovely. She's actually my second Melody now that I think about it. And of course, she's also wearing a variation of the Val Spears 1804 dress, which came with quite a few of its own variations. Then whatever I did added on to it. I think everyone is accustomed to seeing Melody in a different like style dress. And if you're not really like into the 50s or and 60s, then this doesn't kind of look like what you would expect her to be in. But if you have a look around, this dress style was actually very popular in the 60s, so it works quite well. Here is Mary Ellen in her sledding outfit. I already did a video on this. Just to say this outfit is so adorable, and I'm glad I finally purchased it. At some point, I did go ahead and get her sled too. For me, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the fashions of those eras all kind of just blend together for me. They're fairly close together and mostly interchangeable. So you get to the 70s and it's pretty drastic change. So I have Ivy and Julie here, and they are wearing the study hall outfit, and that's a keeper's Dolly Duds. I just kept it really um, easy with these two, and they look awfully cute in that outfit. Courtney is here, and so I haven't said much about shoes because I actually still don't have enough shoes for all of these girls. Historically correct shoes are just regular flat black shoes. And Courtney doesn't come in anything regular or flat or black. I think she has some pink flats. I haven't found those. But at any rate, one of the goals is to get a bunch of regular shoes done. I did get sandals done for the spring, so I have lots of sandals then, just not regular closed-toed shoes. So here Courtney is, and she is wearing a bubble dress that needs to be closed in the back, so we're not going to worry about that. And I was too lazy to put on tights. I do have some white tights, and she's got on these black leggings, which actually, as far as I remember, should be historically accurate, and the white boots. Okay, so you're just gonna have to forgive me for the white boots because it was either that or the jelly shoes. This puffy dress, man. Okay, so look, I hate the 80s. I just, I hate the 80s. It's a fashion decade I'd rather pretend that I didn't participate in. Um, it's complicated, but I distinctly remember having a satin dress. It was fairly heavy satin, or actually, maybe it was taffeta. No, I really do think it was satin, not taffeta, but it could have been taffeta. But at any rate, it was pink. It had the puff sleeves. It was a drop waist, and around it was a big puffy ruff. And under the puffy ruff was another puffy crinoline. And I remember loving that dress. And so the first thing that came to mind to me for Courtney as something that was kind of dressy would be to create a puff dress. So basically, this is the Val Spears pattern, 1804. I just dropped the waist, which is what I did for one of the other dolls, and kept the puff sleeves, which is a part of her pattern. And then I took the skirt and folded it under to make a tube and stuffed it with crinoline and made it puffy. It just strikes me as the perfect 80s holiday dress. The only thing I'm missing was the sash for the ribbon, and that's only because for the life of me, when I started cleaning up, I could not find it anywhere. So at some point, she'll get it on her outfit. And here are the twins to round off our historical dolls. So I dressed them the same, and not just because they're twins, but because all of the companion dolls, Felicity and Elizabeth, Mary Grace and Cecile are different. Um, Basically, I generally dress them pretty similar. So here they are. They just have a white turtleneck and a green skirt. Seems pretty basic, pretty 90s, nice and warm for New York. And you can't see it, but Nikki still has on her fuchsia shoes from her skateboarding outfit. And I could just see her wearing them. She's like, I don't want to get dressed up. I just want to be comfortable. And so just wears a pair of comfy shoes that don't have anything to do with the outfit. And here is Nanea in a flutter sleeves dress that's made from Molly's Pleasant Company patterns. I saw one of the dresses in her collection had the flutter sleeves, and I thought it would be a great idea to make one for her.